Here's Multi and welcome to the 29th episode of the season series where we go through every NHL team in their alphabetical order. We are going to be ending this series soon because we have speculated loads of teams so far, and now it's time for the three last teams in the alphabet, and the third last team is Vancouver Canucks. If you haven't checked the previous episodes, be sure to check them. You get great info and some speculation stuff from there. And if you don't know how this series works, we go through the team's Wikipedia page. Their season by season record there is pretty important. Then their roster, which includes some trades that have been made, and then possibly some free agent signings, and at last their prospects that may come to the team in the future, and the conclusion, will they make the playoffs. But as I've said, this series will come to an end soon, so if you could comment what you would like me to do, would you tell it there, and let's get into it. So here's the Vancouver Canucks Wikipedia page, and they play in the Western Conference in the Pacific Division, and they were founded in 1945, and they joined the NHL in 1970. They play in the Rogers Arena. They won 3 conference champions, and a couple of times I think they've been in the Stanley Cup Finals, but they haven't won it. And in my eyes, the team's most legendary player definitely is Pavel Bure. Was a beast that time. Tell your favorite legend on the team. And as we can see from the season by season record, their last season was pretty good on the regular season stats. 48 wins, 29 losses, 5 OT losses, 101 points, and second on their division. But then the Flames got on their way on the playoffs, and I thought that it was a bit of surprise that they lost to the Calgary Flames, but the Flames were a surprising team last season. Many people didn't think that they were going to be beasts, but they were pretty solid. So 5 times in the 5 past seasons they made it to the playoffs 4 times, once losing in the Stanley Cup Finals for the Boston Bruins in 10-11 season, and after that they haven't made it past the quarterfinals, and once in the 13-14 season they didn't even make the playoffs. But I think that season was pretty close because they were 5th and 4 will go there, or don't know, but this team is created to be to succeed in the playoffs and in the regular season, and they've been pretty solid going there. But now we'll take a closer look at the roster that they will have when they are going to be battling for the spot on the playoffs. And here it is. As usual, I pick players that I know about something. If you want to have an impact on these episodes, be sure to tell it in the comments down below. Brendan Gaunce, a couple seasons ago, was their first round pick. Very promising centerman. I'm not sure has he made his NHL debut, but in my eyes, one of the better center prospects for the team. Bo Horvat as well. Promising centerman, a little bit bigger I think, and well, it seems like Gaunce is bigger, and I was a bit surprised because I thought that Horvat was that son, like a power forward kind of guy. Well, we'll see that in the stats later on. Daniel Sedin, of course, and his brother, they've been in the franchise I think for their whole career, and they've been pretty solid there. They had great seasons there. I think Daniel once won the point scorer title in the league, I think, and Henrik has also one. Henrik is known as the passer guy and Daniel is the scorer guy. Then Jake Virtanen, I think his father or mother is from Finland, but I think he plays for Canada. He's a very solid. I think he can play on either way. Hopefully he'll be playing next season. I think he had some injury problems last season. Then I think they're the best sniper at the moment, Radim Burbada. I really like his game. He's got great hands, great shot, and I think he'll play first line with the Sedins. And then their defense, Alexander Edler, a pretty solid Swedish defenseman, has played for Canucks. I'm not sure, but I've always saw him on the, and I will always remember him from the Canucks jersey. Then Dan Hughes, I think he played for Canada's Olympic team, a pretty solid offensive defenseman, and I think he'll play in the first line. Then Christopher Tanu, I think he hasn't got his breakthrough season yet to the All-Stars in the whole league, if you know what I mean. Of course, in my eyes, he doesn't have the potential to be the league's best defenseman, but maybe top 4 for the Canucks team would be pretty solid. I think he's a little more defensive than if we compare him to Hughes, and he's got right-handed shot, so that's interesting for him. Then their goalie partnership, Ryan Miller, has been pretty solid over his whole career. And the second goalie that will be challenging him for the second spot, for the starting spot, is Jacob Markstrom. I think he was a first-round pick for Florida Panthers along 7-8 years ago, but hasn't got his potential yet. Hasn't got it. So hopefully next season he will do his breakthrough and will really challenge the team. But now let's take a closer look at players that I chose. First one being Brendan Gaunce, 26th overall in the 2012 entry draft by the Vancouver Canucks. Last season played for Utica Comets in the AHL, and he's that sort of a point scorer. It seems like during his past years he's got some injury problems in this 13-14 season, but hopefully I think he will play in the AHL next season. He's young, he's got time to develop, and I think Sedins can do with the stuff in the first line for a couple more seasons to come. So Gaunce definitely has two-line potential. Bo Horvat, same can be said from him. He's got his prospect years. Last season, 68 games played and 25 points for Canucks. Next season, I think he'll be their second liner. I would see him there. It seems like he's been a point scoring player in the junior years, but I think he will be a pretty solid, like offensive and defensive, like two-minded center that will do hard on either way of the ice. And on its potential, I'd say 45th point next season would be pretty solid for him. I'm expecting him to do better. Daniel Sedin, second overall in the 99 entry draft, has played his whole career for Canucks. As I said, I think his 10-11 season he won the point scoring title, 104 points. Last season got 76 points, which is decent for him. He's been pretty point scoring all his career, even though 13-14 season was a bit of flop for him. I think that was the season when they didn't make the playoffs, so the brothers of Sedins, who have a very important impact on the team. So then Henrik, he was third overall in 99 entry draft, one spot behind Daniel. Last season got 73 points and also had not that great season in this. 13-14 season in 50 points. And I think he won the point title in 9-10 season with 112 points. And as we can see, well, that season he nearly got 30 goals, but got over 80 assists. So I think Daniel had pretty much goals that season, and I'm not sure who other played on their team at the time. But when they went 09-10 season, they were pretty solid, and 10-11 they got the Stanley Cup final. So they've been playing great little time ago. Then Czech were done 6th overall in 2014 entry draft. Last season played 10 games for Rick Thomas in the AHL and only 14 in the VHL for the Calgary Hitmen. Hopefully he will be fine next season, has left his injuries behind and will be ready to start fighting for the NHL spot. I think he'll be ready. He's a big guy, he's got great shot, and definitely a player that the Canucks need in the future, because this guy in 5-6 seasons will be retiring in my eyes. Radim Verbata, 7th round pick for the Colorado Avalanche in the 99 entry draft. Last season got 63 points, definitely a goal scorer. Has been playing for many teams, it seems, like Avalanche, Hurricanes, Hawks, Coyotes, Lightning, and now the Canucks. As I said, will play in the first line with the Sedins, because if we got two solid goal scorers like Radim and Daniel on the wings, and a hell of a great centerman, then assist and great plays, also can score goals if needed in Henrik Sedin. First line will be deadly for them and hopefully will succeed well. Alexander Edler, between him and Dan Hamhuis is the competition who will be their first best defenseman, but I think Hamhuis is a bit better. Edler's got great defensive play and also offensive. On his best season has got 49 points and is a point scoring player in my eyes. Last season got 31 points. I'm not sure did he play in the first line or in the second line, but very good. If he doesn't play in the first line, he will be a very good depth player for them. And Hamhuis, 01's entry draft, 12th overall by the Nashville Predators. Has played for two teams, Nashville and Vancouver. Last season got only 23 points. In his best season, the Canucks, it seems 38 points. I think he is a pretty good skater. And on the offensive side, he's pretty solid. And I think he's got potential to be 30-40 point scorer next season. I was a bit surprised of the lack of the points he's got. As we can see from his time during his junior times, he's got twice over 60 points, but it doesn't always go that way. But a very solid, and as we can see, he's played in the Olympics for Canada, and there's many solid defensemen for Canada, so it's tough to get on that group. And Christopher Tanev was signed as an undrafted free agent on May 31st, 2010. Canadian, 25 years old, has played his whole career for Canucks, and not that kind of point scoring guy, even though he got 20 points. That's not loads for defensemen, but definitely a pretty solid on the defensive side of the game, and in my eyes, one of the prospects that they need to develop for the future. Then there's starting goalie Ryan Miller. He's 35 years old, was a 5th round pick by the Buffalo Sabres in the 99 entry draft, and it seems like his first career season for Canucks was last season. Had a pretty solid season in 45 wins, 45 games, 29 wins and 15 losses. 2.53 games, no goals on average, and 91.1. He's a winning goalie, so that's what makes him important. And because he's so old, they will need to bring the Jacob to the team because he's a bit younger now, and he needs to he needs to take the spot of Ryan in my eyes. He's got potential. I think Ryan only played that many games last season because Eddie Lack played there and he was pretty solid as well, but I think he nowadays plays for the Carolina Hurricanes, so a bit of change there. But Ryan Miller will start as the starting goalie in my eyes. Then there are prospects that may come to the future, to their team in the future. I already took a closer look at Brendan Gaunce, then Hunter Shinkaruk, I think left wing, pretty solid. Also took a look at Jake Virtanen. Then we might take a closer look at Dane Fox, but it seems like these don't work. Then I'll tell you from these. Then Dane Fox, I think he played in the OHL and was a pretty solid point scorer there. And I think he has played in the AHL. I'm not sure, but I think he has. Well, then, because he's a point scoring guy, I think he'll play in the AHL next season. They've got a great AHL group there, in my eyes. And hopefully he'll keep it that way. Hunter Shinkaruk was the team's first round pick, I know that. Left wing, I think he's a playmaker guy. And they definitely need wingers for the team for the future. And then I just noticed that there was the brother of PK and Malcolm Jordan. Hopefully he'll create similar career to PK. PK's been solid for Montreal, and hopefully Jordan will will be the same. And I think he's got a great shot, and I think he's a pretty good point scorer and pretty all-rounded player. But I think this is it, guys. We've taken a closer look at the teams. Wikipedia page, their roster and their prospects, and now it's time for the conclusion. Will they make the playoffs? I think their first line is one of the better in the whole league, but then they don't have enough good wingers there. I think their wingers on the second line will be Johnny Hansen and Chris Higgins. It's not too great. Maybe then in the third line, Sven Barchi and Jake Virtanen. Or Jake Virtanen play in the fourth line and Burroughs will play in the third line. But I think they need better wingers there, and they don't have. They got couple of solid defensemen there, but there are a bit surprising names in my eyes in Alex Biagio, Taylor Faden. Well, Spiza is pretty solid. Weber has been pretty solid, but I think they would need to add up little more better players on the third line and some depth players, as I've said many times. But in goalie, I think that's the spot that may rescue them. But in my eyes, the Canucks will have a tough season. I think the Deans are going to be not that great, even though they got riding with them. They are all getting a bit older now. I just hope that the young guys will come to the team pretty soon, that the Canucks can start succeeding well. But I think the team will not make the playoffs in the Western Conference. The Western Conference pretty tough. So that's it, guys. We've taken close. So next time we'll take a closer look at the Washington Capitals. They will to perform. Tell your comments, please leave a like, and remember guys, use or nothing. Bye.